Coming up on Falcon Weekly, Kenyan terrorists take hostages in their assault on a major mall. We've got the latest from the scene. Plus, learn how local malls prepare for the worst.
And part of I-20 was shut down this morning after 3 18-wheelers crashed. Find out what made this crash an extra slippery mess for crews to clean up.
And Christmas is coming. Stores across the country are preparing for hiring thousands of workers for the holiday rush. But find out why it could be harder to get one of those jobs. Falcon Weekly starts now. Hello and welcome to Falcon Weekly. I'm Lauren Alteffer.
And I'm Amanda Metcalf. Thanks so much for joining us.
Now an update on the situation in Kenya. The Nairobi Mall was attacked over the weekend by Somalian terrorists. While the situation has not yet been resolved, the
Kenyan military announced that security forces have taken control over most of the mall. Reporter Tori Dunnan has the latest.
Can we have the helmet? Where's the helmet?
Days later, and gunfire can still be heard. Billowing smoke can still be seen. The ongoing terrorist assault started on Saturday when gunmen stormed an upscale Kenyan shopping mall.
We heard machine guns, and then we started to run.
It's unclear if hostages are still trapped inside the Nairobi Mall. More than 60 people have been killed, dozens injured, including 5 Americans, according to the State Department. Officials say most of those who lost their lives were Kenyans.
A lot of casualties being rushed in, they were hurt to different parts of the body. We're just trying to get them in and treated as fast as we could. A lot of dead bodies are being transported there as well.
The al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group Al-Shabaab is claiming responsibility. Meanwhile, a law enforcement official says the FBI is looking into claims by the group that American citizens were involved in the attack. But those claims have not been confirmed.
We've seen at least 3 and perhaps 4 American citizens conduct suicide operations in Somalia on behalf of Al-Shabaab.
The Kenyan military announced on Twitter that 3 terrorists have been killed, but more than 10 Kenyan Defense Force soldiers are reported injured. Those who escaped the mall described the horrific scene inside.
Bullets were running over my head.
He shot at my head, but luckily it hit the wall behind me.
In Washington, I'm Tori Dunnan reporting.
Mall attacks like the one in Kenya have happened on a much smaller scale here in America. While terrorists have yet to strike any American malls, there have been several attacks by lone gunmen. Malls across the country prepare for these types of worst-case scenarios. The Mall of America, one of the largest malls in the U.S., holds lockdown drills twice a month. Employees and shoppers practice taking cover in back rooms in order to limit casualties in an attack. Security experts say the best thing for you to do in this type of situation is to be aware of your surroundings.
Turning to the crisis in Syria, in their interview with China's CCTV, Syria's President Bashar al-Assad is firing back at the U.S., saying if Washington wants to find excuses for war, it will. The U.S. and Russia have called for Syria to turn over and destroy all chemical weapons. Over the weekend, the Syrian government turned over documents detailing the chemical weapons across the country has stockpiled. In the interview, Assad was asked if it's true that there are more than 1,000 tons of chemical weapons in Syria.
It is no surprise. They are large in amount. We are a country in a state of war, with some lands that have been occupied for more than 40 years. But no matter what, the Syrian army is prepared to fight with conventional weapons.
Al-Assad and his regime are blamed for the August 21st chemical weapons attack outside of Damascus. The U.S. estimated the attack killed 1,400 people. The Syrian government blames the rebels for the attack.
Turning to national news, we are 7 days from a possible government shutdown. Lawmakers need to make a budget compromise by September 30th to keep the government running. If the government shuts down, some federal programs like Social Security would continue, but national parks would close and paychecks to soldiers would be delayed. Jim Acosta tells us more about what a shutdown could mean.
Now just 7 days and counting to a government shutdown, and Texas GOP Senator Ted Cruz is holding his ground. It's still defund Obamacare or bust.
If the majority is going to run the minority over with a train, the minority has the ability to stop them.
The question of the week is whether Democrats and anti-shutdown Republicans who are furious with Cruz can stop him from blocking any new spending bill in the Senate that funds health care reform.
Tactics and strategies ought to be based on what the real world is, and we do not have the political power to do this.
This is about running for a president with Ted Cruz. This isn't about meaningful statesmanship.
If the government shuts down, some federal programs would continue, like Social Security payments. But a third of federal employees would be furloughed, national parks would be closed, and paychecks to soldiers would be delayed.
This is totally irresponsible, completely juvenile, and as I've called it, legislative arson.
Aides to the president say he will beef up his defense of Obamacare all week, starting with an event with Bill Clinton Tuesday that will keep up the pressure on shutdown supporters.
We're not going to allow anyone to inflict economic pain on millions of our own people just to make an ideological point.
That was Jim Acosta reporting. So how could this potential shutdown affect college students? Officials say that the shutdown would probably delay the processing of student loan applications.
Friends, coworkers, and family members of the victims of last week's deadly Navy Yard shooting were on hand Sunday to attend the memorial service honoring those who lost their lives. President Obama was on hand to lend his condolences on behalf of the nation and assure the survivors and their families that their loss would not be forgotten. While the president's nearly 20-minute-long speech focused on the grieving families and the loss of the many feel that similar mass shootings, some people were upset by the one topic the president brought up in his speech.
That's right, Lauren. President Obama once again jumped at the chance to campaign for stricter gun control legislation during his speech at the memorial for the victims of last Monday's Navy Yard shooting. We sent our man on the street, Andrew Meacham, to ask students how they felt about President Obama using the memorial as another opportunity to push gun control.
I think like a later date he could have addressed it in a different setting, but not at a memorial service for people who lost their lives.
I think it should have been brought up sooner, considering everything else that's been happening.
Well, I think he could have waited a little bit, but obviously it's important, important content to discuss.
Because I mean, it's an important topic, so I mean, he could have brought it up whenever.
Well, because it's kind of a sensitive time for everybody, probably needs to do it at a different time if he's going to do that.
Andrew tells us students are evenly split on whether the president should have kept the memorial a strictly solemn affair or used it as a platform to push the demographic agenda on gun control.
Major traffic trouble today for drivers in East Alabama. An accident involving 3 18-wheelers shut down part of I-20 East in Cleburne County near the Alabama-Georgia line. 2 of the 18-wheelers overturned in the crash, causing one of the trailers to spill its shipment of cooking oil. There is no word on any of the conditions of the drivers. Coming up after the break, Jennifer Corona tells us about a popular Montevilla restaurant that is about to make a big celebration, and she'll tell us why.
And college night season is getting closer. Find out when and where the purple and gold sides start getting gearing up for next year's competition. Those stories and more when Falcon Weekly returns. Welcome back to Falcon Weekly.
Everyone loves a good birthday party. Jennifer Corona joins us live to share what local joint is celebrating their mark in Montevallo. Jennifer?
Montevallo's favorite little coffee shop is celebrating their 12th birthday. Eclipse Coffee and Books has filled the void for the last 12 years as restaurants and bars have come and gone. To celebrate this exciting event, they have invited Good People Brewing Company and musicians Dead Gaze and Dent May to get the party started. Everyone is invited to come out on Tuesday the 24th at 9 p.m. for good music, good beer, and as always, good company. Employees Stuart Norman and Zach Gallman know why they're excited.
I'm excited to celebrate Eclipse's 12th birthday because being open for 12 years in any small town like this is pretty exciting. It's a pretty big feat. And we're bringing two pretty big bands from Mississippi. Dan May just off of his newest album, Warm Blanket. And it's getting some good press and stuff. So it's pretty much the biggest show that we've had to date, and hopefully it'll be a sign for more to come.
Good.
I think what I'm most excited about is Good People being here, and I'm pretty sure they're bringing keg.
This is Jennifer Corona live for Falcon Weekly.
College night is still several months away, but the gold and purple sides are ready to start mixing things up. The annual College Night Mixer will be held this Thursday night at the Student Activity Center. The festivities kick off at 7 p.m. The mixer gives new Montevallo students the chance to meet purple and gold leaders, members of each side, and to pick a side. The purple and golds face off in the annual College Night competitions next February.
It's time for students to select who will represent the university as the new Mr. and Miss Montevallo. The candidates for Miss Montevallo are Abigail Bradley, Julia Irwin, Hannah Gentry, Jana Hoffman, Jesslyn Loggins, Mary Kate McLaurin, Maria Ramos, and Jana Tatron. The candidates for Mr. Montevallo are Stephen Bolger, Derek Kennedy, Brent Maldron, Dylan Owens, Michael Talon, and Corey Wilson. The polls are open today through Wednesday on the OrdSync website. Don't forget to cast your vote. If you're looking for a quiet place to relax away from campus, you may want to head out to Montevallo's Ebenezer Swamp to enjoy a new boardwalk addition. Crews worked throughout the summer to add onto the boardwalk. The addition doubles the size of the original path and allows students to be closer to nature, and even includes a small outdoor classroom.
Members of the University Chorus are preparing for their first concert of the semester. The diverse group is made of professors and students and is members from different backgrounds. They work hard on various songs, performing some pieces in English. They also perform in other languages such as Italian, French, and Spanish. Their first concert will be held October 15th at 7:30 p.m. in the LeBaron Reception Hall. Apple reporters record record sales on new products that were released over the weekend. But a group of the people in Germany have announced that they are the first to have successfully hacked the new iPhone 5S. Find out how the hackers say they did it.
And wild weather continues to hit Colorado. After a week of heavy floods, snow hits the state. Those stories and more when Falcon Weekly returns.
Welcome back to Falcon Weekly. Let's take a look at this week's consumer news.
If you're looking for a job during the upcoming holiday season, Walmart says it will be hiring 55,000 workers to handle the holiday rush. That's a 10% increase from last year. With more than 4,000 locations across the country, that averages out to about 13 more workers per store. Walmart says it is hiring more people because the company has added many new stores across the country in the last year.
Meanwhile, Target is also preparing to hire workers for the Christmas rush, but they aren't hiring as many people as they did last year. They're only hiring about 70,000 seasonal workers, which is 18,000 less than last year. Apple says it had a record-breaking opening for the new iPhone 5S, and hackers in Germany are already saying they are the first to successfully hack the new fingerprint scanner. Apple sold a record-breaking 9 million new iPhone 5S and 5C models since they went on sale Friday. That's nearly double the 5 million iPhones Apple sold during the first 3 days that the iPhone 5 was on sale last year. Meanwhile, hackers in Germany say they are the first to successfully hack the new iPhone 5S. A website offered a $16,000 reward to the first person to hack the touch screen ID sensor. To collect the reward, the hackers had to lift and reproduce a fingerprint in a way that would unlock the phone in less than 5 tries, and all of the steps must be documented on video. The hackers claimed they fooled the biometric sensor by taking a picture of a fingerprint and creating a fake finger. In other smartphone news, BlackBerry plans to go private after being offered a deal by a shareholder. BlackBerry's largest shareholder, Canadian insurance company Fairfax Financial, will look to buy the popular smartphone, making for $9 a share. The news comes after BlackBerry announced major financial losses. The company lost $1 billion last quarter and will lay off about 4,500 staffers. However, the proposed $4.7 billion deal has not yet been finalized. BlackBerry executives say they will consider the superior offers until November 4th.
Now, Brett Bell joins us for a look at this week's weather. What's going on in the weather around the world?
Cleanup is underway after Typhoon Usagi came ashore in southern China on Sunday. Chinese state media reports that 25 people have died because of the storm. The typhoon also tore down trees and power lines and forced airlines to cancel hundreds of flights. The typhoon has been called the strongest storm of the year, with winds peaking at 162 miles per hour. Official reports say those wind speeds dropped to 115 miles per hour before reaching land. Meanwhile, in Colorado, officials have confirmed an 8th person has died from severe flooding in that state. The person was found in Larimer County over the weekend. There are 2 other people listed as missing in Larimer County. Officials say the raging water destroyed some 1,900 homes and damaged another 16,000. The flooding also decimated bridges and roads. Officials say it will cost roughly $135 million to begin to fix the state's infrastructure. Even though flooding has ended, Colorado is still dealing with strange weather. Snow fell this morning in Summit County, leaving the roads covered. As you can see in this footage, cars are barely visible. Forecasters say the area could see more snowfall Thursday.
Now it's time for a check of our Montevilla forecast.
Brett, what can we expect to see in the weather for our region?
Today's weather is partly cloudy with temperatures in the low 80s, with the highest being 83 and the lowest being 59. There are high pollen levels this week, and that trend will continue as the week progresses. On Tuesday, the high On Tuesday, the high will be 81 with strong chances of thunderstorms. Let's see. I'm so confused. Okay, thank you. This trend will continue in the 80s this week. College night mixers should have a good turnout since there is only a 10% chance of rain on Thursday. It looks like we're going to have good weather for the weekend as well.
A Montevallo professor took home the trophy at this year's Alabama State Chess Championship. UM's Dr. Scott Varagona is the 2013 chess champion. Dr. Varagona has a PhD in math from Auburn University and a degree in philosophy. He is now at UM teaching a course in the mathematics of chess. He says his love of math helps him to be a better chess player.
Out that there are lots of chess puzzles that are really math problems in disguise.
Dr. Varagona has participated in chess tournaments for the past 15 years and has now won 5 state championships in Alabama. He also hopes to play in larger chess events in the future. The Falcons are flying high on the fields and courts this week.
Heather Buckner joins us at the desk for a look ahead at sports. How's it going, Heather?
UM's volleyball team is looking to continue their winning streak and raise money for a local dog shelter. More and more coming up. Sports is next. Welcome back to Falcon Weekly. I'm Heather Buckner with a look at this week's sports. UM's volleyball team swept Limestone College 3-0 September 21st, extending their winning streak to 5 matches. Their current 5-game winning streak is the longest by the Falcons since 2010. They'll return to action Wednesday against Stillman College in Tuscaloosa. The team is partnering with Joe Jackson's Dog World for its upcoming Falcons for Paws event at the next home match on Friday. Fans are encouraged to bring the supplies for the shelter, like dog food, blankets, or cleaning items. Joe Jackson's Dog World will have dogs at the front entrance of Trustmark Arena from 5:15 until 6 for fans to stop by and say hello. The men's soccer team dropped its 3rd straight game after a 1-0 loss to UNC Pembroke Saturday night. The Falcons were able to outshoot the Braves 18-9, but were only able to score on 1 of those 18 shots. The women's soccer team went into Saturday night's game with a record of 0-2, and the trend would continue as they lost to Pembroke 4-2. The team will try for their first victory Tuesday when they travel to West Florida. You may not know about UM's fishing team, but you should. The Falcons are currently ranked 25th in the nation, even higher than the University of Alabama. With a top 5 finish in last week's event on Lake Mitchell, the fishing Falcons are off to a great start. For more sports news, tune in to Falcon Fever starting this Wednesday. That's a look at this week's sports.
Thanks, Heather. Before we go, look who made the trek to Ohio for Oktoberfest.
Actor gay rights activist George Takei, more commonly known as Mr. Sulu from the original Star Trek series, took to the stage in Sunday's 108th Oktoberfest in Cincinnati to show off his dancing skills. Takei, seen here doing the traditional chicken dance, was named Grand Master of this year's celebration. That's all the time we have for this week's show. Thanks so much for joining us.
For more UM news, be sure to check out the Falcon News Network blog. The web address is on your screen. We'll see you again next week.